Oh, friends, not these tunes.
Sondern lass uns angenehmere anstimmen.
But let us sing more pleasant ones.
Uns Freunden vollere.
And rejoice.
Freude,
Joy.
Freude,
Joy.
Freude, schöne Götterfunken, Tochter aus Elysium, wir betreten feuertrunken, himmlischlein Heiligtum.
Joy, bright spark of divinity, daughter of Elysium, fire inspired, we tread thy sanctuary. Thank you, Sam. Joy. What a concept. Patrick Lord Bremert had a concert here on Thursday night. I heard it was spectacular. Unfortunately, I wasn't here because I had booked my Carnegie Hall season well before Patrick's concert came on the books. And I was there seeing the Orchestra of St. Luke's and Beethoven's Ninth. I could barely sleep after that show. They should not do these at 8 o'clock curtains. There's no way to wind down after that. After a chorus in the aisles, after a chorus all along the back of the stage, in the final sections when Carnegie Hall long-term goers just stand up with their scores in the midst of the audience and start singing along, there's no way you're going to wind down for an 11 o'clock bedtime. My bedtime is normally 9 o'clock, so this was late to begin with. Joy. Ode to freedom and joy. Freedom and joy. What concepts. Difficult for us some days, maybe even today even, but I've been managing it pretty well of late. I have lots of joy. Now, you know that joy is different than happiness, much like wisdom is different than being smart. The world all around us wants to check in on us about how we're doing. Are we happy? What color's your parachute? Are you happy? What's your happiness project, Harvard wants to know. But joy is deeper. It lives somewhere down here that doesn't let you go to sleep at night. And wisdom, well, wisdom is something that lives all around us as well, that wakes us up in the morning saying prayers of gratitude, offering new ways of thinking, different than smarts. The world all around us is trying to keep us down. All sorts of things. This week, incredible change here in our city. And on election day, I spoke to many of you. It was a schizophrenic day, folks. I spoke to some people who said, I just can't bring myself to go vote for Cuomo. To which my response was, so don't. Other people said, if Mondami doesn't win, I'm going to put my fist through a piece of glass. I thought, well, this will be a fun one on Sunday. I haven't heard anything about the Red Beret character that was in this voting lineup this year, but I presume somebody here might have voted for him and, well, the Red Berets. Food stamps are still in jeopardy. 42 million people are still wondering when their next meal is going to come. This past week, you all gave nearly $13,000 toward our Tuesday table feeding program. That's incredible. Yeah. And we're not done yet, because feeding people brings joy. It's really simple. You buy food, you put it on a table, people eat it. This is the simple stuff of the kingdom of God. And we've got a long way to go. Trick questions. Who are you voting for? Is he really going to be able to do anything that he said? Are the rich really going to flee from the Upper East Side out to wherever it is that they go nowadays? How exactly does a $1 trillion compensation package work? And then we have Jesus. We have this Gospel of Luke text that we heard this morning. It's a parable about who marries the widow. And you might think the widow may not want a new husband. 7 brothers does not sound like a joyous thing, like, leave me alone. I just want to close the door and sit down quietly. I don't need another one of you. And then, who's going to be your husband in the resurrection? These are all trick questions. Jesus deals with them, but Jesus can deal with them because Jesus is Jesus. We are not, so we don't have to. Here's the beginning of Luke. This is important. Some Sadducees, Luke 20:27 begins, some Sadducees, those who say there is no resurrection, came to ask him a question. Those who say there is no resurrection, so these are people that do not believe in resurrection, then ask this complicated question about the resurrection. Why are they doing this? They don't believe in it. Why do they care? It'd be like any number of other stupid things that we do all day long. We answer the question that is put in front of us when we should be answering the question that we want to answer. Some Sadducees, those who say there is no resurrection, came and asked Jesus a question about resurrection. With that opening line from 27, you can ignore the parable. You don't have to read it. They don't believe that the resurrection is real. Jesus is not going to spend any more time getting blood from a stone. There is no point trying to convert your MAGA Republican next-door neighbor at your Thanksgiving table to vote any differently. Save your breath. It takes your joy. Jesus goes into this. Finally, the woman died. And in the resurrection, therefore, whose wife shall we be? And Jesus kind of, skirts around and says, those who belong to this age, marry. And in this age, they're given in marriage. But those who are considered of a worthy place in that age, and in the resurrection from the dead, neither marry nor are given in marriage. Evidently, heaven is a singles club. Ignore all of that. Don't get caught up in it. Parables are easy to get caught up in. We spend a lot of time thinking about how many angels can dance on the head of a pin, or what happens if salt loses its saltiness. I don't know how salt loses its saltiness unless you put it in too much soup and then you have to get it back out. But then Jesus goes on to say, indeed, they cannot die anymore. And this I like. Marley was dead to begin with. Once you're dead, you're dead. There's no coming back. And we know this fall, don't we, West End? There have been so many deaths. It's all around us. A frequent visitor. Loved ones no longer with us. Doing the work of cleaning out closets and sending things to Goodwill. Doing the things of planning memorials and now staring at that too big dining table wondering, who's coming for Thanksgiving anyway? I can't even think about Christmas. Indeed, they cannot die anymore. And because they are like angels and are children of God, they are children of the resurrection. This is a quick, logical thing. Because they're like angels, they are children of God, and thus they are children of resurrection. That's a really powerful line of thought. And the fact that the dead are raised, Moses himself showed in the story about the bush. Now, the bush. I've been thinking a lot about this burning bush of late. I've been thinking a lot about this bush that is not consumed. That's what we know about it. It burns, but it is not consumed. It can't move. It has no locomotion. It has no agency. It sits, just burning. It would mean nothing if Moses didn't show up. Sometimes God just sits and isn't changed and isn't consumed and waits for us. Moses shows up and God says, "Take off your shoes, for where you stand is holy ground." Moses penetrates into the divine space, and the theophany begins. God doesn't invite Moses. Moses goes. We go where we think we need, and then we find ourselves ready to take off our shoes, to get comfortable, to settle in, to have a conversation. I've been taking my shoes off a lot these days in my office. It's kind of a thing that I'm doing at the moment. Cambridge is aghast and telling me to put it back on whenever I have external meetings. But there's something very cozy about it. And also it's fall and I'm breaking in new boots and they hurt. So I take off my shoes. When God says to Moses, "Where you are standing is holy ground," what do you think that means? Is it holy ground because, well, is it different than any other ground? Is it holy ground because there's a fire nearby, like this candle, that is not being consumed? Or is it holy because Moses is standing there? Are these pews where you're sitting right now, are they holy because they're made out of wood from last century? Are they holy because other people have sat there for years and years and years? Are they holy because they help you get closer to God? Or might they be holy because you sit there? People who believe in the resurrection come to sit and to encounter and to wonder. And God looks out and says, "Be seated. Be still, my soul. Joy may come in the morning." Moses himself showed the way to resurrection. When he speaks of the Lord as the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, to say nothing of the God of Ishmael, the God of Sarai, the God of Rebekah, all the other names that we could add into this to understand the fullness of who God is not a God of the dead, but of the living. But we go back up. You cannot die twice. So what happens to God? Where are we? What is the resurrection? We're not coming back here. We're going somewhere else, and God is the keeper of that. Imagine that. God is the God of all of us here living today, and the God not of the dead, not of Good Friday, but of Easter Sunday. And for to God, all of them are very, very much alive. Now, here at church, we've got a lot of joy these days, and a lot of tempest and a lot of pot of teas these days, and that's understandable. We're a human organization, we're all stressed out. But I want to know what we're doing to create more joy. We've got a couple weeks before Thanksgiving. Last night, walking up 9th Avenue, picking up my dog from daycare, I saw my first Christmas tree in an apartment window. Yeah. And I didn't hate it. I thought, yeah, I am ready for that joy. The community chorus has been singing Christmas carols every Wednesday night since the beginning of September. And they scoffed in the beginning of September, complaining about singing the first Noel right after Labor Day. And I sit in my office some nights and get to listen to them when they rehearse in the choir. And yeah, it was weird. September is a weird time to hear wintry wonderlands. But I don't mind it so much now, because there's joy. We Protestants, we protest joy, right? Like, this is one of the things that we do. Joy tomorrow, joy yesterday, but never ever joy today. That's one of the things that we do. We keep it off. It's always in the future. It might be the resurrection itself, but what if it's today? What if joy today is a new tune that we could sing? What if we went from this place today saying, no more of those tunes? I want tunes of joy and rejoicing and freedom. What if we went from here today with joy as our method for changing the world? Justice, peace, mercy, doing good works, feeding people, being good Christians, being disciples, all of those are essential. But what if joy was the rubric itself? What if it was simply smizing at somebody on a subway? Not in a creepy way, but like in a happy way. What if it's saying, I don't hate that Christmas tree on 9th Avenue right now, though it's entirely too early and I don't really like that color scheme, but it was joyous. What if it's just the simple things of sitting in these pews today, or of sitting around tables for jazz brunch last week, or of planning for worship 2 weeks today when we will be in this sanctuary the Sunday before Thanksgiving, celebrating communion here. When we've celebrated communion so often in the chapel these past 2 years, the Sunday before Thanksgiving, we'll do it the old-fashioned way, in church. Debbie will polish the silver and we'll get bread and lots of grape juice. And we'll be here. God whose giving knows no ending, from your rich and endless store. What if there is a way to create more joy? And what if creating more joy is the antidote to what we know is the principal devil in any organization, which is anxiety? We know that anxiety is highly contagious. One anxious person in a room quickly becomes 2 anxious people in a room, quickly becomes 4, and quickly becomes a problem that lands on my desk. In your organizations, I imagine it does the same thing. What if there's a step back that says, let's find joy. What could we be joyful about? On Wednesday nights, we feed people. We feed us for $10. If you haven't come by, there are only a few weeks left before we take the winter break. Come for a simple meal at 6:30. More and more people are coming every week. The food is delicious. And I guarantee you can't get it for $10 anywhere else in the city. That's joy. What we do before it, kids' hour. Call the kids up in your neighborhood. Go around your building and find the kids. There's free programming here for parents to drop their kids off. That's joy. One of you told me last night that you had an unexpected babysitter show up and you got to go on a date with your husband. That's joy. Surprise, joy, wonder. And maybe many of you are starting to plan your Thanksgiving menus or your travel or seeing your eldest son in another show last night. Joy, simple stuff. Maybe you don't have to deal with all the things that you were dealing with while we were dealing in the active stages of death. Maybe now we get to sink into, what does it mean to heal? What does it mean to mourn? Not be melancholic, but to mourn, to actually move through. What does it mean to engage with a process every week, every day? A process of joy, a process of discovery. One of my favorite phrases is enter with curiosity. To not make a judgment, but to enter with a question. Is there a time for joy there? Is there a time for more joy here? Is there a time for more joy out there? When you leave church today, what are you taking with you? We'll recap this when we get to the benediction. You have some silent meditation time after this to think about it. But really, what are you taking from here? Why are you here? Is it for quiet? Is it because it's holy? It's probably because of our choir. Are you here to find something about yourself? Or of God? Or of yourself and God? Are you here because you don't know how to make sense of anything else? And in this place, with a center aisle, this place still knows how to cross that aisle. And we can have conversations and make meaning and sing hymns and look at art and talk about Beethoven's Ninth Symphony and Our Town and all the other things that we do every day. And then we can go out from here with joy. Enough of these old tunes. We're coming up in the holiday season. If ever there was a time to learn a new song, this is it. If you need help, Derek will help, the choir will help. Come to a Wednesday night, sing Christmas carols. We're going to have so many wonderful Christmas concerts this year. So much joy is coming straight at us. What if church was joy? And freedom. For joy without freedom is liberation without an ally. Liberation, mine, is bound up with all of yours. My joy is too. For if I have joy and you do not, then we do not have joy. And we have to find it. And if I have freedom and you do not, then we do not have freedom. And we have to find it. And if you have joy and you have freedom and I'm having a bad day, help me find it. Imagine what it could be if sitting in your pews right now, next to people, some of you are sitting next to family, some of you are sitting next to nobody, some of you are sitting next to a new person today. What if you turned to them sometime between now and the end of the service and smiled or tried to spark joy? How might that change the day? A butterfly flaps its wings over the Pacific Ocean, and the world changes. A solo voice sings, "Oh friend, no more of these old tunes." Joy. Joy. It's so good. Those notes pierce. Take them in. Jesus came to give us life, so he says in the Gospel of John, and life abundant. Another way of translating that abundant word is life joyful. Joyful, joyful, we adore thee, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Amen.